Welcome back. All right, so if the NHL is gonna do like an award show thing, shouldn't they, like, I don't know, hype it more rather than just kind of dump it on us? I didn't even know this was going on when I started this board, and I started seeing things on Twitter. I'm like, wait, what's happening? Oh, all right, so that's on. Okay, cool. All right, so the awards are at the bottom. Thanks for the heads up. But yeah, well, okay, we'll start with the awards, since that's what a lot of people are going to say. I'll throw that first up in the title as well. Kirill Kaprizov, surprise to no one, he wins the Calder Trophy. Best rookie this year. Yeah, we can have a discussion on age, blah, blah, blah. But he's the best rookie this year. He wins the trophy. Gives him even greater bargaining leverage with the Minnesota Wild right now. And if he doesn't come back, now Guerin's going to look pretty bad. But again, that's a whole other thing. I think he signs. I think it's all a bargaining tactic being used by him. And it's all part of the game, and that's fine. So Kaprizov's the Calder winner. Your Vezina winner is Marc-Andre Fleury, which I am fine with. And again, I understand that people are surprised. People are very surprised. This is the first time he's been a finalist. And here's why. He's not a great regular season goaltender. Over his entire career, he hasn't been. Jonathan Quick of the LA Kings comes to mind as well. Never won the Vezina. And being the best goaltender in the regular season and in the postseason aren't always the same thing. They don't always go together. There have been some great goaltenders that have had a hard time winning a Vezina. There's some great goaltenders that have never won the Vezina. And that's definitely a conversation we can have during the summer on great goaltenders that didn't win a Vezina trophy, and maybe some goaltenders that won a Vezina and then, poof, disappeared, right? So Fleury wins his first. This just, again, solidifies him as first ballot Hall of Fame. What he's done since going to Vegas has been leaps and bounds above anything he did in Pittsburgh. And I understand people are going to say, well, he had the 3 cup rings. Yes. He was the starting goaltender. In the first instance, he was the starter for half of one of the other instances, and he was mostly a backup for another. So what he's done in Vegas has been more of an example of him as being the guy and how good he can be when a team has a lot of faith in him. And I think the move to Vegas lengthened his career. I think if he had stayed in Pittsburgh, he may very well have already retired. I don't think he has those huge miraculous runs in Pittsburgh. And there were times in Pittsburgh where his numbers, whether it was regular season or postseason, weren't that great. So Fleury's an example of why you don't give up on a goaltender. And I'm very proud of him for winning that trophy again. And there's another trophy for Vegas. The Norris Trophy ends up going to Adam Fox. So for anybody who's like, man, Rangers fans can be obnoxious about Fox. You thought it was bad before. So, and I get it. So during the start of the season, Rangers fans were very vocal about how good Fox was. And during the season, everybody picked up on it. During the season, everybody, clearly the writers, everybody watching games went, Fox is a very, very good defenseman. Now, I had thought that maybe with Hedman's name recognition, that might get him some votes. I know there are fans saying Cale Makar got robbed. I would put Fox this season ahead of Makar. It's a trophy, and again, one trophy for every defenseman in the league is tough, right? But sometimes your best overall player at a position doesn't necessarily have the best season at that position. I think Fox had the best season of anybody on that blue line. So, I get that part of it, and it's great. And then, having Leon Draisaitl hand out the Lindsay, well, that's going to McDavid. And then as soon as they were going to break, and they're like, so after the break, we're going to have, Kyle Bukauskas says, we're going to have Leon Draisaitl give out the Hart Trophy. And I'm like, okay, so it's Connor. There's no other reason to have, why would Leon Draisaitl hand it to Austin Matthews? Why? Why would he announce it? Why? It just doesn't. So I was like, all right, so it's McDavid. It's McDavid. So I wrote, and Hart underneath. So Connor McDavid gets the Lindsay. He gets the Hart. And it was an amazing season. Great run by him. And of course, they'll have to work on the whole playoff performance thing of the entire team from top to bottom. Re-signed Nugent Hopkins today. That was made official after that video I did this morning, which we knew was official anyways. They just hadn't officially announced it. But Brian Rashog's giving you the number. It's about as official as you're going to get. So, other than them actually giving you the confirmation. But yeah, so McDavid, great season. More hardware for him. the hardware he wants is that Stanley Cup. We'll see when that happens for him and what has to happen for him to get there, right? So there's your news regarding the awards. Now, news regarding the rest of the hockey world from today. Don Granato has had the interim tag removed from his coaching position with the Buffalo Sabres. They've decided to stay with him. And with some of the names being out of contention, it made sense that they were going to go with him. Granato now is the head coach. And so we'll see how things go for Buffalo. They did play better under him. They did. Than they did under Ralph Kruger. I understand people are going to look at the record and go, yeah, well, it definitely got better with him in charge. The players seemed to like him better. And they responded better, and it just the team in general was playing better than their record. So they were really bad through a lot of that losing streak, but once Granato took over, they were playing better than their record would tell you. So this is Buffalo staying with somebody that I think the players like, they like, and we'll see how it goes. Vancouver officially announced today, the city of Abbotsford officially announced today, that an agreement has been finalized. So this was going to happen anyways. We knew this was going to happen. I mean, I already have a deposit down on tickets, so they're not going to be sending out all this with tickets and all that if they're not sure it's going to happen. It's just a matter of figuring out exactly how that agreement's going to work. So not that I'm saying what the branding should be for the Abbotsford team or anything. One of the choices for names was Canucks. It's not the one I picked. When they actually announced the team name, we'll see if the one I picked is the one they go with. But yeah, I mean, if they were the Abbotsford Canucks, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Because, again, you've got other branding you can use for that. And you know you've got a built-in fan base for it. So, hopeful that Abbotsford's going to do well. I know it was a bit of a nightmare when it was the Abbotsford Heat. But, again, as I've stated before, Calgary's farm team being in Abbotsford just felt weird because we're right down the street. Like, I don't think that Vancouver's farm team would do all that great if they were in Toronto. Or maybe a more apt would be the Montreal Canadiens farm team in Toronto, right? So it's your rival, and Calgary and Vancouver have had a tremendous rivalry for a very long time, decades. It's been a lopsided rivalry in favor of Calgary throughout a lot of it, but Vancouver's had their moments. They have had their moments. 82 and 94 come to mind. Colorado making a move today to make sure they have at least a goaltender under contract. Johansson has signed a one-year, two-way extension, $300,000 in the minors, $750,000 in the NHL. And that's something you do because you have expansion coming up, and also because you need depth in goal. And he was fine after he got to Colorado. He played all right. He didn't play fantastic. The first couple of games were kind of rough, but honestly, his last couple weren't that bad. So Johansson's sticking around. Now it's a matter of how much they're going to sign Grubauer for, and then we'll see in expansion how things turn out. Seattle will take guys that they don't necessarily foresee as being part of the roster just because they have to take 30 players. So some of these teams are signing players that we're looking at and scratching our heads now. And then when Seattle reveals their team, which is going to be done via live stream and it's going to be on TV, and yes, I'll do a live stream here when they're revealed, just for the reaction that we're all going to have to seeing these players come out. But yeah, Johansson, it's a smart move by himself and by the Colorado Avalanche, I think. Pajot has had surgery on his hand based on a nagging injury he was going through in the playoffs. So that explains part of the reason why he had no points in the entire series against Tampa. If you're having a hand problem that's bad enough that you have to have surgery, it's going to mess up your ability to shoot. It's going to mess up your ability to pass. It's going to mess up a lot of things. And he is set to be ready for camp. So, yeah, Jean-Gabriel Pajot, he is a playoff guy. He will play through a lot of injuries. He will play through a lot of pain. And he's a throwback. He is a guy who can do a little bit of everything out there, and like I said, plays through pain. If he's injured, he will still go out there and play. You have to basically tell him he's not allowed. Also today, that the NHL Department of Player Safety gave a $5,000 fine for Weber for the slash on Kucherov. Habs fans and some hockey fans upset because Sergachev wasn't given anything. But you know, if you look at what happened with Sergachev and Gallagher was involved in that as well. And again, the NHL looked at that and went, it's a scrumming thing. And that seems to be the standard now, that if something happens and it's related to a scrum, it's the way that works. And they're like, yep, no, that's fine. And so nothing happens there. Montreal has put in request to have 50% capacity for Game 3. I think they have a good chance, and I say that only because it was announced here that BC's going to a situation where all indoor facilities can have 50% capacity. So, yeah, I don't see any reason why Quebec, whose numbers have been just as good as they've been out here in BC, I don't see any reason why Quebec shouldn't be able to accommodate that request. And so that would up the attendance in the Montreal game to about 10,000 people, which would be huge. So we'll see. And then, of course, for Montreal, it's like, and we can charge money for tickets. The tickets are very expensive. The StubHub prices. The funny thing is, I don't like going by StubHub. So when I do videos on attendance, I haven't had to worry about that in a year and a half. But when I talk about attendance and everything, and I try to get narrow down how much the prices are for tickets. I'm not going to look at the resellers. Reselling doesn't tell me how much the actual price of the initial tickets are. So I might pay for a Canucks ticket here like $50, and I might get $100 for it. Well, if I'm trying to figure out how expensive it is for you to go to a game, I'm talking about if you get it from the team itself rather than through resellers. Resellers really do hope that Montreal gets their way here, though. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But again, if it was the Canucks in this position, it's not. But if it was, they would be able to have the building half full right now. So yeah, we'll see how things go. Or actually, well, as of the 1st to be able to have them. But again, Game 3 will be after the 1st. So we'll see what Quebec does. The Seattle Kraken also was announced. I should have put this in this morning's video. It's here now. The Charlotte Checkers, they will be sharing with the Florida Panthers. Not really a huge surprise. Their affiliate will not be good to go until next year. And at that point, that marriage of prospects will fall away. It can be tough. It can be tough because now if you're the coach of the Charlotte Checkers, you've got two teams keeping an eye on how you're handling their prospects. And if you favor the prospects of one team over the other, the one thing with Seattle, though, is it's their first year. So odds are they may not have the amount of depth when it comes to the roster, right? And their decisions for who goes to the AHL, they may not have the same amount of players necessarily that Florida would have. So it may not cause a huge problem now, like it would if it was, say, Florida sharing with Carolina, something like that, right? Who had the Charlotte Checkers until last year. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. So again, there's more news coming out with Seattle, it seems like every day, because they're getting everything figured out. They're getting their ducks all in a row. And yeah, that should be an interesting team to keep an eye on this upcoming off season and into next season. There you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below regarding the award winners, who you feel got robbed and all that, because there's always going to be that comment. I was actually kind of surprised that Vasilevsky didn't get the Vezina, but Fleury is absolutely, he is a worthy Vezina winner. It's honestly, I'm glad that he finally has a Vezina, because it does seem weird, although I understand why he's never won a Vezina. It still feels weird that he didn't have one. So there you go. Another award for what will be a Hall of Fame resume. Let me know your thoughts. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And yeah, it is 11 degrees cooler here today than it was yesterday. So while it's still around 90 degrees Fahrenheit, it feels so much better after you've been through 110 or 115. It doesn't feel that bad at all. So there you go. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.